It's fine. It's fine. Good job, Don. Woo, you did it.
She's like, it's my job.
We took it away from you.
I'm so upset now. Okay, whatever. I don't want it anymore.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Opinionated Lushes.
So,
we just figured out a topic, so we're really excited. Okay, go, Don. Your other job we are not taking away from you.
Jessica, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking Pabst. Woo! Pabst, sponsor me. I'm already known for drinking Pabst. I should say something.
Tag them in the episode.
Yeah.
I gotta remember.
It's always too late.
Sonia, what are you drinking tonight?
Okay, well, our pre-drink, I had most of this. Once this is empty, or I think I'm taking a break right now because my coffee's getting cold. Okay, I'm drinking a coffee. It's just coffee. And then I'm going to go back to my drink. I need a break. I had so much alcohol. I'm on a break.
What's in your drink?
Oh, yeah.
Drink. It's just drink.
It's just drink, you guys. It's pineapple cranberry juice and rum.
Ooh, yum.
And then my coffee's French vanilla. If that
matters. That one, yeah. I'm just drinking diet green iced tea.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not drinking tonight.
It's fine.
It's fine. You don't have to drink every night. I'm not like that's okay.
You don't have to drink any night. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm just saying too. Okay?
I'm just saying. Okay.
So before we started recording, Sonia started talking, and we just decided this is the topic. So Sonia, you go on with your rant.
Okay.
And we will join in.
Fucking landlords. That's what my rant is. Just in general, landlords. Okay, but the one I'm talking about, I have a post. Okay, so there's like a local buy and sell group in Ontario, near those guys, and this guy is like renting his home. Well, I don't even know if he's the owner, but I'm assuming he is, and it's like a sketchy post in its own, but it's $3,500 fucking dollars. Okay, like. Fuck.
That's $3,500
utilities.
No, it's with utilities. So, like, at least
there's that, I guess.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, but really are you going to use the pool? Okay, so
but you have street parking because I've read this. Sorry,
yes,
I've read this
yeah,
one.
That's okay. So it's the main upper floor with 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchen, and living room, along with a shared backyard with a swimming pool. Rent includes all utilities, ground maintenance, and all. Just want to put out most properties that are apartments, not full houses. The land or whatever has to be taken care of by a property manager. Just putting that out there. Ground maintenance and road parking available. The garage and driveway are for the owners who live downstairs in the basement. Seeking quiet family, older couple. Dog friendly, no cats. Mature day shift working tenants preferred. You have to work during the day that you would use
so
the
like you're
pool.
paying $3,500 just to sleep there, basically.
Yeah. And then rental month to month available for the next 24 months. There's a few things wrong with that. In Ontario, you can't. So again, in whatever you can put, landlords can put whatever they want in their fucking postings or whatever, but they can't say in the lease. Can't say no pets. Even if it says no pets, it's void. And so
just
you have
lie.
The right.
You just pretend you're
lie.
like, yeah, I don't got no pets. Actually, you know what? Even if the application asks about pet information, don't write you have pets. Just don't do it automatically.
Or just say you don't. Just lie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just say you don't.
Have pets. Yeah. Also, if they say if you have kids, say you don't. Again, another rule is they can't tell you, oh, you have too many kids to live here. That's another people thing, but that's a different rant. We'll go to that in a second. I'm on this one. So in Ontario, you're allowed to have animal companions. There is special circumstances like condominiums, but usually with a condo, you own it and you pay fees. Mm-hmm. Like that's a complete different thing. For renting, unless the zoning. So again, in Hamilton, you're only allowed 3 dogs. If you have more than that, you can't. Like that's a whole different bylaw. You can't break bylaws. But a lot of them times are like, oh, I'm allergic. So what happens is after you move in, the person you're sharing the residence with, like the landlord in the other apartment, who will never go into your apartment, they have to prove that they're allergic after you move in. It can't be beforehand. It's after. So even if they say, well, it's because I'm allergic, they still have to take you to court afterwards. Yeah. So this guy, and I said it, like I commented, you can't put no cats. And he's like, owner occupied in the home. Thanks for sharing your perspective. And he gave me like a blog posting where it says landlords are allowed to put whatever they want.
Real legal advice.
Yeah. And I said section 14 of the Renter Act says otherwise. Like it becomes void, right? So, and then someone else is like, not if it's a shared residence. Shared residence doesn't mean separate units. Shared residence means if you're like roommates. And
they have to share a bathroom and a kitchen, I think, is what the rules are for shared residence. So it's always like, do you share a bathroom with the landlord if you're living in their house? If you do not, it's a separate residence, even if it's the same house.
But you still need to go to court and prove it. Like that's it. Like I should clarify. I'm editing this post on our thing. Like shared is if you
this is gonna be a live reaction of Sonia fighting with someone on the internet
with a landlord.
Like I'm pretty sure I know shared bathroom is usually the main one, but it's like shared communal spaces has to be a part of it. If they're completely
kitchen
separate units, if they're completely separate units, then it's technically 2 separate spaces, like a basement apartment, you know?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. My thing with landlords is landlords aren't providing value, like especially if they're using it like they're not providing anything. They're just hoarding housing. Like what do? Landlords don't fix your plumbing. Plumbers fix your plumbing. You just call the landlord so the landlord can call the plumber. Like I feel like there's a faster way to do that. Like
you call the plumber yourself.
Like if you just owned the property and could call the plumber yourself. Like what is the landlord doing there? Like they, the fact that the landlord's special when they like paint over like electrical sockets and paint over plugs, they don't get black mold. The fact that is such a meme shows that like what value are landlords having on society besides causing homelessness. Like that's all they're doing.
It's disgusting. And then so I posted the same thing on my own personal Facebook, like laughing at it, like if I'm paying your mortgage, I'm going to bring all my cats, and since utilities are included, I'm going to have the best weed grow setup ever. But like somebody commented and they're like, I don't understand. Why can't you just buy a house? Right?
It's so fucking easy. Don't you know?
Oh my goodness.
Well, they live in New Brunswick where it's a lot easier to buy houses right now. That's why everyone in Ontario is moving to New Brunswick.
I bought a house there once. I had to resell it, but
she never lived in it, but she
temporarily.
bought a house.
I owned a house for 3 months out there.
So I just I did the math. I did the math for her and stuff. So I did comment and I found on realtor.ca the cheapest 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, move-in ready house, $400,000. And so I put, because the banks have made it practically impossible to get a mortgage, they have what's called a stress test where mortgage can't cost more than 32% of your yearly income. This is the cheapest move-in ready home, the example. Mortgage would be $2,500 a month, meaning to qualify, you would need to make $75 a month. It's doable if you're in a relationship and you both make $1,000 a week, which sounds easy enough. But then the next issue is having companies actually pay their employees $25 an hour for a 40-hour week. It's often part-time hours for full-time work. So that was and then she's like, oh, that's disgusting. Like she agreed, like she's just like, oh my gosh. And then apparently in Europe, mortgage is transferred down to generations. So when the parents die, their children get the mortgage. I was like, well, luckily in Canada, they just take your house. Yeah.
Like I feel like that's like the opposite kind of thing. It's like, yeah, if you can't pay the mortgage, then the bank just like mortgages. It's all so dumb.
Yeah,
It's
you know
just,
what
Everything's made up. We've already discussed this. Like,
yes.
the
What I
value
hate
of the
about
house
that.
is made up. Like, everything's just made up.
So if the bank has to take your house and resell it, you don't get the money you already fucking paid into it. They
No.
keep it. Right? I was like, I fucking paid, like, I have maybe like 100,000 left on a house, and now I can't make payments because something happened in my life, COVID, whatever. And I paid already 300,000. They take my house, sell it for 700,000. I get nothing. The bank just made bank.
Yeah,
Like,
they made 7,000 off the resale and 300,000 off of you.
Yeah, they fucked me. Well, not me.
well, I mean, it's the same reason banks have insufficient fund fees for fucking when you have no money in your bank account. They're like, oh, you have no money in your bank account, and this bill tried to bill you, so now you also owe us $50. It's like, what?
Yeah. How am I going to pay you? I don't
How
have
am
money.
I negative money, and then you make me negativer? Like, I don't understand.
And like the banks, to have a bank account, it's $17 a month just to like use it, like just for me to give them my money, $17 a month. And then, but if you have 4,000 in there, you don't have to pay fees anymore. Like that.
Capitalism breeds innovation, folks. They just find ways to fucking build you when this all should just be a free infrastructure provided from the government. Banking, housing, all of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's
our
like
dictatorship.
our dictator. You get a house and you get a house. It's like my thing with landlords is they're always like, we're in a recession. They're like, well, we have to raise the rents because we're losing money. And I'm like, losing money doing what?
Yeah.
Like, what's your job? Losing money to owning housing, that's cool because they're working their ass off to pay you. That's like, feudalism. Like, that's kind of the landlord. It's almost like too obvious.
Yeah. And like it's not like there's any shipping costs. You're fucking lit. That's your item is there forever. There's no overhead
the renters
charges.
pay to move. Like, they pay to move and all this shit. You're out nothing except maybe a new coat of paint, which you can give the landlord special and cut costs. Like, you're not a plumber, but you'll give it a shot. You're just like, whatever to save money. And then these renters are buying you your house.
Yeah, for you to resell it for 700,000. Yeah.
Like, they're like, in order to make profits, that means you're charging like more than your mortgage.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I just got a text message from Dave. You're so cute.
Yay!
For those that don't know, do you want to? Okay, it's already out when this episode airs, I believe. But we have a virtual drinking game on opinionatedlushes.com that Sonia and Kyle, who we all love, really worked hard on. So anyways, we played that during pre-drinks, and Dawn got dared to make a post, and now her husband thinks she's cute.
Well, no, that I'm getting a puppy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not though, but like, he doesn't know that.
Dare. It was a dare.
Yeah.
It's part
So
of the
Sonia
game.
has a bunch of puppies and that she's selling and whatnot. And she only has like 3 left. And I took one of the pictures that she took of her puppies and I posted it on Facebook, tagged my husband and said, my husband said that we could get a puppy. I want everyone to meet Marshmallow. And I named this dog because it's white. And so now my husband just texts me going, oh, that's so cute. Like, yeah.
It is cute. It's a cute dog.
It is a cute dog. You know what? Sucks when landlords hate dogs.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. We're like, no pets.
Yeah.
There's so many like landlords will ask for like such personal information on their applications that they don't have the right to ask for, and they'll do it with their full chest. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so many people don't know their rights, which is unfortunate. Like they should be teaching this class in high school, since kids won't ever be able to afford to buy houses at the rate they're going. Like this,
Right.
you're gonna be needing to rent. So you
know
need
what
to
I
learn.
hate?
What?
The whole thing, like they want credit checks and stuff, but every time they search your credit, like say you apply to like 4 different houses, that's 4 people checking your credit, and every time you check your credit, doesn't it ding and go down?
No, there's no penalty for getting your credit checked.
it gets marked on your credit report, but it doesn't lower your number.
I thought it did. Someone told me it did.
No, maybe in the States, I don't know. But here in Canada, other people can't actually even see that your credit got checked. A bank can, and police
And you can.
and you can. But,
Yeah.
but other
And
people
the credit
can't.
union can.
Yeah,
That's
like
the
a
only
bank.
reason I know that it'll like show up is like when I check, it shows up who checked my credit report. That's all.
Yeah.
Fucking dogs, guys. Don't. That's because the puppies are outside right now, and the other dogs aren't allowed. Now they're just like
They're jealous.
yeah, they need to start fucking paying rent. That's it. Like I would become a dog landlord, and they're gonna have to start paying.
You need to start them doing an only pause. Just like put the pause up.
I tried that with the dad of the babies because it's expensive having puppies, and we're not selling them for that much. Nobody was interested, so it was unfortunate.
I just saw pictures of the dogs. Just be like, look at these paws.
Look at these cute.
Look at the snoot. Look at the
Look at
snoot,
those
guys.
cute. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever had any bad landlord experiences, but I mean, I've had multiple.
So many.
My worst was actually a property management company, a small one. And I lived in an apartment on top of a Second Cup, which is kind of like a Starbucks coffee shop, in a very pristine part of town near the university. But this place was fucking gross and broken. And when I moved in, they didn't even clean it. So I made a stink because they're also required to make it live-in ready. Like if you're a renter, like, and that can include that includes things like a coat of paint, like stuff like that. So make sure to ask for that, because that's what I did. And then they just ended up having the cleaners come like while I was living there. But it got done. And anyways, when I was moving in with my husband, I still owned that place, like rented that place for 2 months. And so I could do like a slow move. And during that, they locked me out and threw out all my stuff. And then said, take us to court. Yeah, in the middle. Like they actually rented it during my last month and then weren't going to give me last month's rent. So they were going to rent that place twice, basically, which is illegal also. Oh, yeah. So yeah, and it's a property management company renting to university students. So if you're a university student looking for housing, beware, because they prey on you the most.
Always. Yeah, because you don't have adult supervision, and a lot of adults don't know their rights either. But most students just fresh out of living with their parents don't know the real world yet, unfortunately, and they get taken advantage of.
100%.
One of my, not the worst experience, because they didn't actually get to be my landlord, but it was like one of the experiences that made me buy a house. Like we were fine with renting, like, because like generally I was like, renting is less stress, because this was before the cost went boop, boop, boop. So we're like, okay. And then we found a house right across the street from my kids' school. So we're doing the like application process, and then I gave them my work, and we had a friend who worked at the bank, but like we didn't put on her that was our bank manager. She was just a bank manager. So she called my work and was like, I don't trust this person. There's like saying really terrible things about me. Oh, this person like does drugs, like all these other things to my work. And my work is like, this person's calling, and it's a government job, by the way, guys. And this like, they're like, this person's calling, blah, blah, blah. They're saying that you're trying to get a house. And then they're saying all these things. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I had to give them my work number because they needed to know I was employed. And they're like, yeah, that's like basic, right? Like, and And then the bank person, who happens to be a family friend of Kyle's mom, was like, this woman's calling and she's being like, how much money is in their bank account and like all these other questions that like they shouldn't have.
That's insane.
Yeah. And it was insane. So what happened is we're like, okay, you know what? I'm fed up with renting. So we just actually moved in with Kyle's parents, saved up for a down payment for a house, and then moved out. And then bought a house, a fixer-upper kind of thing. We lived in it. And then we sold it and upgraded to another house. And then we sold that and upgraded to this house. So like it's, little steps. But it was just like, it was insane. It was like the straw that broke the camel's back of like the insanity of slum landlords.
Yeah.
Oh, and landlords like okay, in Ontario, this is different for our United States listeners, but here you cannot ask for deposits.
Security
it's first
deposit.
and last. Yeah, security deposit. It's first and last month's rent. That is what, it is. You don't ask for security deposits. So actually, when Chris and I first moved in together, we found one house, and I think it was the only house we could have moved in at the time. Because it was just so perfect. They used to use the basement as like a movie theater type thing. So they already had the ceiling all foamed and soundproofed.
Great.
Right? So for Chris's studio, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. And you know how much it was? $1,400 a month. This was like a 3-bedroom house, 2 bathroom.
That was like 7 years ago too, wasn't it? Like,
yeah.
That's a good
full
price.
backyard.
That's amazing.
Like it was beautiful, and we were kind of dicks about it because we know how slum landlords work. We're like, hey, we'll give you 3 months up front. We need this place.
Yeah.
And like, of course, the landlord's gonna take it because this was his only extra property, and it's a lump sum of cash to prove he's gonna get paid. And like, that's like, it's all about money, and like my whole thing is if landlords are losing out on their investment, because that's what housing is supposed to be, an investment, which means you might lose sometimes. Why don't they do what they tell their renters to do when the renters can't afford the rent anymore and get a job?
Right? Get a job then.
It's so easy. Everywhere's hiring, right? No one wants to work anymore. Go get a job.
Get a job. That's all I hear all the time. Nobody wants to work. No, nobody wants to work for peanuts. Like that's the difference.
Well, if all these landlords got fucking jobs, then then maybe I believe people want to work.
Yeah,
and landlords you don't want to work.
Oh, and you mentioned about the couple of months up ahead. Some landlords are like, "I'll give it to you. Like I have this huge list. You're desperate, and you know what? I think I can help you out if you can get the money and pay 4 months up front." Like they're saying these things like, and the first person who gets the money gets
exactly. Like it's dickish and suckish for like the people that can't get that money up front. Although most of we weren't raking it in at all. We just knew that this was like the only house that would work for us to live in.
Yeah, you're
so like we'll just scrounge up what we have.
Yeah. But it's different for the renter to offer than the landlord to be like, hey, like,
oh, for sure. I only thought to offer because I've rented before, so I know rent. Yeah. And I know what they're looking for. And they're looking for people that will shut the fuck up, not mess up their investment, and pay their fucking rent.
When I lived in Fort Erie, I had a neighbor that rented, and then they got kicked out because people bought the house. I'm like, I tried to tell, like, you guys don't have to. Like, you guys don't have to move. But they were like, they were mad. They were just fed up. They had a child that needed a little extra care. And by a little, I mean a lot. And they just didn't have the energy to go to court.
Yeah.
So when you live in Ontario, if someone buys your house, they can evict you if they're moving in. But after they buy the house and get possession of the house, they have to take you to court. They have to still pay rent while you're doing it because, like, you don't want to get fucked. But in order for them to evict you, they have to take you to court and prove that their family is moving in. And then that takes a while. And then after that, if they put up a for rent sign within the year of owning that dwelling, they, after you get kicked out, they get fined. Like it's so like, if you have a place and they're trying to kick you out because they're selling it, don't go. You're the new landlord's problem. And if the new landlord is like, you need to go, say, no, I don't have to. The old lease is now your lease. And don't go until they take you to court, because housing is fucking disgusting. And they can't raise your rent, just so you know. Also, it's only 2.8% yearly.
Except for
Unless
new
it was
builds.
built after 2018.
Okay,
2000, anything after 2018
Has no
a
rent
lot of
control.
the times they will rent it out at a cheaper price and then double or triple the price the following year. So if you are finding something within your affordability in Ontario and you see it and you're like, oh my gosh, this seems too good to be true, check when it was built.
Yeah.
Just check, because a lot of people are finding themselves like screwed because they can't afford another first and last move and then also pay double their rent. So
don't do it. So
don't do it.
But usually older houses, they'll try to be like, new landlords will be like, oh, I'm taking over your lease, so you have to, I'm increasing. Be like, no, 2 months ago, Steve already increased my rent, so you have to wait again for the following year. And that and it's only whatever the percentage. Yeah. It's unfortunate in New Brunswick, 0 tenant laws. Like no protection over here. And what's happening, though, the people in New Brunswick are really upset about the people in Ontario buying up all their houses and then renting out the places for Ontario rents when people don't make that much money here. So for the higher paying jobs, you only make 2/3 of what people do in Ontario. Like and the cost of living is higher, like bills and everything's higher.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking, I don't hope there's not enough people here to start a really strong landlord and tenant board, because a lot of people own, right? So we'll see maybe in the next couple of years, the shift of control.
Well, I just like a lot of in Ontario, a lot of those stress test rules changed the year the year after Chris and I had bought this house. And I always say, like, if we didn't buy this house when we did, we probably would not have been able to afford a house. Because even in the few years that we've owned this house, it's like 1/3 more of its value. And I promise you that value is not added from us. Like, I'm not adding value to this house.
Yeah.
No way.
Like in Fort Erie, our house, it went up. But we already had the mortgage, but like our term was coming up, like it was, and like to get you have to get reassessed like after the end of your term to like, I was like, fuck, it was COVID, so none of us were working. We're like, nope, we're gonna fail. That's it. But we are planning on moving anyway. And then our house cost so much there that we were able to like move here with no mortgage. Like, which is good, but I can't ever, unless the stars align. Like people can't move from New Brunswick back to Ontario, and I can't really move anywhere else in New Brunswick because the house we bought in a cheaper area, and so like if we want to move closer to the city, no, we'll have to get a mortgage. But like we qualify now because I work, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it's just so like it's housing. Like I thought we figured this out by now. Like
and you can't even buy property, right? They make even buying property difficult, and building difficult to build a house. So it's cheaper to actually buy a house already built, but it's like $500 a square foot to buy a house on the land that costs $2 million. So you're buying the land for $1 million. And then you have to build a house. The smallest house, 2,000 square foot house, is almost $1 million.
There used to be a time when it was cheaper to build your own house if you had
that's what I'm saying.
money up front.
Yes.
Like it's like that used to be a thing, and now it's like no, you have to buy pre-built.
Yeah, even that a fucking trailer is still like $300,000. Like a tiny little like home, like mobile home, is like $300,000. and it's
Those
one
things used to
bathroom.
be 20 grand. Like, what happened?
Buying them used from like 2010 is 20,000. Like it's
Oh my god, it's so fucking sad. I mean, even like Galen Weston is in the property business. Our favorite billionaire.
Of course he is. Yeah, Irving's a good billionaire.
Let's talk about Doug Ford.
Okay,
And getting caught bribing developers and giving developers $8.5 billion to build on the Greenbelt, knowing that he could have built anywhere else.
And he fucking lies. Like, so these same developers were at his like daughter's staying in dough or whatever, and he's like, they're not here because they're developers and I'm a politician. They're here because we're all friends. And then they're like, so we caught you bribing like billions of dollars to these same guys. And he's like, we're not friends. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's what I mean. It's fucking insane there too. Like the conservative government. So there was a rule that you can't build on farmland unless you're a developer. But farmers can't sell their farmland to develop. They can only sell it to farmers who can sell it to developers. So like you can't get a plot of land and be like, oh, I want my son to help me with my farm. I'm getting kind of old, but him and his family deserve their own space. So I'd just like to like little plot of land. Like I have 150 acres. I just want to give them one. No, you're not allowed. Because you can sell off your farm so you don't have to take care of it. And then the farmers can do what they want with it, like sell it to developers. But they recently made a new law, which pretty much says if you're friends with your local politicians, they'll grant you access to sever your land a little. But it's to their each individual discretion. So Dawn Marie, I'm going to need you to start sucking dick over in Campfield. Okay.
Where's our throat go when we need
That's
her?
right. Take one for the team. I think there's like 8 of them.
Sonia, you just did 2.
Whatever. Do what you got to do, man.
Yeah, multiple politicians at the same time might be beneficial, you know?
That's right. So just go over there and be like, I'm here to get Sonia some land and start going. Bring a muffin basket for the people who just like, you know, maybe they get
want to watch
asexual and cuck representation at the same time. I love it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then little blue pills for the old guys who just can't, you know, like they're like, I would want to, but I just can't. And then you're like, I got you, you know, don't worry, Sam.
Yeah, I got you. We good.
There you go. See, perfect. That's what I need you to do.
Okay, I'll get on it.
And then
like, I'll get to work after the puppy.
You could do that. That's right. After the puppy. But like, you could save everyone. Okay. Like think of I don't know if you have a hero complex, but I think you should get one because like you could save people. Like there's all these unhoused people that can get land and then they can put their tents on it until they can afford building materials. Like think of all the good you can do by
okay. Justin Trudeau is single now, and we know Dawn's had an eye.
Look. This is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to seduce JT, okay? Me and JT, we're going to mingle, okay? I'm going to be his new boo, all right? And then I'm going to talk to him about housing. I'll be like, listen, like, we need more. Like, it's looking really bad, honey bear. And he'll be like, yeah, baby, I get it. And then he's going to give all of Canada lots of funds.
So he's actually giving Hamilton some money for the unhousing.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help municipal who have control over the land laws.
Okay, so mostly I'm just gonna like give to like NDP cities, you know, ones I know like for like mostly will do it. Mostly.
But NDP is still giving money to landlords, and we're very
they are landlords.
Yeah, they are. The fact
I'm gonna talk to JT and be all like, okay, baby, like, you know what we need to do? We need the government to own housing, like more, like than the like city ones. We need like federal housing and like build a bunch of like small townhouses that are affordable for people to live in. like based on income, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do when I'm balls deep. Like,
he's a landlord too. He's a property owner.
he is. They all are. 100% of them are.
Well, see, this is the thing. Okay, like if people really, really want a private sector, I'm totally game for it. I'm like, cool. You want a private sector? Fine. That's fine by me. But if it's a human right, like food, water, shelter, healthcare, education, there should be public options that are equal to said private counterparts. So the only benefit, I guess, private ownership would, like, privatization would have is like for the ultra wealthy. Like, it should be like luxury homes privatized. They're all different prices, sold by people that own them, whatever. And then the average house that's like not filled with mold and pest free and like has electricity and clean water is provided to the average citizen.
Yeah.
Yes. I think renting should only be by companies. It should be a business. So you have to have a business license. And so if you're not following your rules, you lose your business license. And these companies can only own apartment buildings and townhouses. Individual homes, single dwellings, cannot be owned by companies. These are for people to own, like, their own homes. Like, it's...
I would totally agree with that if people actually checked shit.
Yeah.
But
like again, that requires more government overseeing. Like, if the government actually did their job...
We barely have it now. People are like, oh, the government's telling us to do everything. The government's not doing fucking shit. What are you talking about?
You know how many restaurants I've worked in that break health code violations on the regular? Big name companies, by the way. Like, that's just like how it goes. You know, we're just trying to cut corners here.
Yeah.
Like, I used to clean for a hospital. You don't want to hear about that. Like, Jesus Christ. No.
And like, even like there's so you can buy fresh food at grocery stores. Yeah, that shit's disgusting too. You have 15-year-olds doing all the work. What 15-year-old do you know is responsible to do a good clean? Okay? Fucking none of them. None. Yeah,
it's fucking bad.
Fucking landlords.
Yeah, I know.
It's
like, I remember my first landlord was actually the same as my dad's landlord, because my dad lived in a triplex and the 2-bedroom unit became available. He lived in there was like a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and a 3-bedroom unit. He lived in the 3-bedroom unit since I was like 14 years old. Here I am, 18 and pregnant, and the 2-bedroom unit in the same triplex became available. So I'm like, yeah, let's move here. It'll be near my dad. So we ended up using their Wi-Fi and stuff. That landlord, like, our fridge broke. So our fridge kept like freezing and then thawing and freezing and thawing throughout the couple months. And the landlord didn't fix it for 6 months. And I couldn't afford to take them to court because it's like at the time, I think it was like $120 fee. Now it's like 200 something, I think. But yeah. It's like you have to pay a fee to file. It's like, okay, well, I'm too poor for that because I have to pay these same fuckers rent. What am I gonna do? Oh
it's God. Terrible. Yeah, and
then they yelled at my dad when I moved out. My dad got mad at me for it.
Like, why didn't your dad just tell him to fuck off, right? You know, like, that's not my problem. But like, my first apartment, it's a beautiful apartment. Absolutely loved it until winter came. So the windows weren't sealed properly. They had holes in them, like, not like under them. Like, there's the ledge, and under it you could see outside. And it's winter, and I'm like, it's really cold. Can you like fill these in? And they're like, that's not our responsibility. So I was 17 and I didn't, again, young people don't know the rights. And my hydro bill, because it was like radiator heating, because it wasn't just one window, it was all of them. Like, all of them had these holes and stuff in them. And my heating was $500 a month. And my rent was $650. And I was on OW. Ontario Works, which does not give you that much even now. And I was like, okay, I can't afford to live here. So I moved out. I got my hydro like turned off. I just fucking abandoned it because I couldn't afford anything. And yeah, and then I had bad credit forever. Because I couldn't afford it and I had to run away. And then I had to live with people. It wasn't good. Like for a little while, I was living with my brothers. And there was another family member who lived there, and there was often drugs in the house. And I didn't want my kid to get taken away because being young, like 17, on Ontario Works, you get checks from their like LEAP program, learning, earning,
the good old LEAP program.
Yeah.
I was part of that too. Yeah.
And they come to your house once a month, do checks and stuff. They'd have to make sure your kid's okay. Just because, you know, even though you're young, you could be a shitty parent. But I know most people I know are shitty parents are people that are not young. But that's a different rant that we're talking about landlords.
Another week's episode.
I know, yeah.
Sure.
So, but she would tell me, and I would just like, okay, I just clean, like whatever you have to do. But like, they would not be responsible for their own areas. So I had to go around cleaning everybody else's areas and making sure, like Kara had her own space. Like it was like a nice big space that she had away from everybody and stuff. But at the same time, the shared spaces were not good. So I had to do that. So it was really frustrating not to have my own space because I live differently than other family members and I could be penalized. And it just seemed like I was the one putting the most effort into that. But it was my responsibility. I'm the one that got pregnant. But it was still like shared space. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, if you live in a space with other people, there's like a level of respect there that should just be expected, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had the same issue. Like your story, like, I mean, I was also a mom on Ontario Works, but at one point I did have to move in with my mom. And because of her husband's drug use, I had to lie and say he wasn't there.
Yeah, I was like, who
he doesn't
here?
live here anymore.
Nobody.
They're separated. Yeah. Like he doesn't live here anymore. They're separated.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know, that was just part of the story. And actually, my mom told me to lie. Like, I didn't even realize. I was like, what? I'm just, doing the best I can. And at that same time, I was moving out of another property management company that's really big in Hamilton. Starts with an E.
Ever Trust fuckers.
Ever Trust fuckers. I was living at an apartment with them with my abusive ex. And this is before Ontario has released now. They have a law that if you are in a domestic abuse situation, you cannot be penalized for leaving like that apartment.
Yeah.
At the time, they did not have such law. So I left before last month's rent was up, even like before, like I had to leave. And there was a hole in the door and they felt the need to charge me for that. And creditors came after me. And I was like, well, I'll pay half.
Yeah.
Can the other person's name on the lease pay half? And they were like, well, it'll still affect your credit if they don't. And I'm like, you can't just take my name off if I pay half? They're like, no.
Yeah, just pay my fucking, just take my name
off. So I had
to
pay for his shit, his broken shit in that apartment because I didn't want my credit any more wrecked. And I was in like the 500s at this point. So I couldn't risk anymore.
No. We got so lucky to buy when we could. But I have family members who, so they're trying to beat the system, which is fantastic. So they only pay $1,000 a month for a townhouse, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. And that's because they got grandfathered in. They had the old people that rented it out keep their name on the lease. And then they put their name on the lease. And then about 2 years later, the old renter took his name off the lease. So this allows you to keep the same rent, which is fucking amazing, and more people should do it. Like, if you're listening and you have an apartment and you're trying to like go find another apartment and you pay ridiculously low amounts, do the next guy a favor, put them on the lease. Be like, hey, like
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Be a
seen
superhero.
Have you ever seen Joe's Apartment?
No, I've heard about it. And I think I've seen bits of it.
It came out in the 90s. Okay, this was one of my favorite
Isn't
movies
he
as
friends
a
with like
kid.
cockroaches or something?
Yes,
it's crazy.
it's a musical with cockroaches. It's amazing. And the main point is it's in New York. And the guy's like great aunt or something dies, but she's in a rent controlled apartment. And because he was listed, like kind of the same thing, he got the apartment, and the apartment's disgusting, like obviously not taken care of, and it's covered in cockroaches that eventually sing for you. But the guy gets in, and because like the landlords are basically trying to kill him so that they can sell the apartment for higher, even though the apartment is disgusting, because it's New York and they can do that. Yeah. And this movie came out in the 90s, folks, and we didn't learn anything.
Like Idiocracy, didn't learn fucking anything.
We're fucking dumb as a species. We're like, we're the greatest on earth. We're smarter than everyone. I'm like, are you fucking jokes?
We're getting dumber. Like, it's
we're so fucking stupid.
For landlords, we're talking about, so they want to know. So what a landlord should know is, yes, if you have a job, and then roughly how much you make, and then references, which is fine. Like, it's whatever. Yeah. What they don't need to know is how many people are living in your unit, your gender, your sexuality, your ethnicity. None of those things they need to know. Another thing they don't need to know is how many people are living in your apartment or home. So a lot of them will be like, well, you need to have, if you have children, it's 1 children per bedroom, like, or 2, they'll be allowed to. So, but if you have a 2-bedroom apartment and you have 3 kids, a lot of the landlords will say, no, you have too many kids. A landlord cannot do that. They're like, oh, there's this law, and they'll send you a link. The law is what I call rich people rules. It's suggested, like they make it sound like it's a law, like the whole website. It's a suggestion that if you're going to rent your place, you should like think about
guidelines.
Guidelines,
like
suggested
ideas.
Guidelines. Yeah. But the actual, and then landlords like, it's a fire code, which is not. The actual fire code law is 10 people in a 900 square foot space. Has nothing to do with how many bedrooms. And so I'm part of mom groups, and they're like, oh, I'm having such a hard time finding a place. I'm like, fucking lie. Lie. Just lie. And I used to advocate for renters' rights through some volunteering stuff, and like with the landlord tenant board. And they would like, so I would go on and I fighting, and they're like, no, like you can't do that. It's like, they need to know it's a law. I'm like, no, it's not a law. Like your things. And like, so whenever there's a post, how I got involved in this other thing with the cats, whenever there's a post and there's somebody not following the rules, I like to like people know who don't know their rights. They don't have to disclose that information. Nothing. There's certain things like how much money you make and how long you've had your job and references. Yes, those need to be included. Nothing else needs to be included. So I always tell moms to lie. I'm like, fucking lie. And then I get property managers commenting, you can't do that. I'm like, don't be a slumlord. And then they're like, I need to make a living. I'm like, not by
get a job. Get a job. And you know what I tell people that are applying to jobs and have to fill out applications and give referrals and whatever else? You can also lie there too, just fucking lie. Just lie.
Companies don't give a shit. Like, they don't care about you. Fucking lie.
If you're going to do the job, they don't care.
If you have the skill set, obviously they're going to ask you questions. And if you can't answer that, you're a fucking idiot for applying for that job. But like everything else, lie about it. Just like look up online what like that job is, and then like, oh, like even if you've like done those skills before, but you don't know how to word it, copy. You could copy and paste. That's fine. businesses they use computers to look for keywords anyway.
Yeah.
So they're looking for where you copy and pasted. So that's what they want. But lie. And I always tell people, I'm like, if you want me to write you a reference letter for a landlord, I'll do it. Like, I'll be your reference. You worked for me for 10 years, bitches. I will like that's.
I felt
I
so fucking bad. So like that fucking slumlord apartment, like I said, that throwing all my shit when I first moved in there, they were like, "Oh, we can't have a single applicant because like they required a cosigner, even if I proved that I can afford the rent." And everything like that. They're like, no, we still need a second person's name on this. So the boyfriend I've had for like 4.5 months, who we weren't planning on living with, Chris, I had to ask him, hey, I'm fucked because neither of my parents will co-sign for me and I have no one to co-sign. And he's living at his parents' house at this time. And he's in Greece. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, let me find a place that has a fax machine. Shit.
That's amazing, though.
Right?
Now
it's 10 years later and now I'm married to him. But yeah, so he actually signed to be my I didn't get any money from him for this apartment, nothing. But he did sign the second signature place just so I could get the fucking place because it was within walking distance of my school.
That's great. Kyle and I had a really big milestone at 4.5 months too. We were just fuck buddies, and like he asked me to marry him, and I said yes. And then he gave me his bank card the next day, and we've been together ever since.
It's love.
But like, the 4 months mark, I guess, is like, it makes it.
That's when you know.
Forever.
I feel like that's when you know.
Yeah.
And like he was away for 3 weeks. Like that was next to this past trip, like tour he did. That was the longest. Obviously, I'd been away from him, and yeah, the first thing he did after he got off the plane back in Canada was he drove to see me, and we fucked in his car.
Aww,
but that was when I was living at my mom's house, right? So I was like, Mom, just watch for like 5 minutes, so it's just like, yeah.
Oh, that's romantic.
Right. It was a Honda Civic gray, his mom's car. Yeah.
How was I fucked in his mom's car too?
We're like twinsies. What the fuck?
Yeah, you're just like a younger version.
I'll catch up, don't you worry.
Yeah. Dom Marie had a 4 month. Did you and Dave live together 4 months of your relationship?
No, we were a year. We were a year.
Well, he moved into your mom's, didn't he? Your nanny?
Yeah, a year. No, year.
A year. I thought you guys were like right away. He was like sneaking in, sleeping in your bunk bed.
We had sex. Like we both lost each other's virginities to each other. 2 months, 2 weeks, and 2 days into the relationship.
Oh, see, that's a milestone. Like that's see, the important milestones are what makes relationships.
It was, yeah.
Stay together.
You should celebrate like 222 Tuesday.
Oh,
like anytime it comes up.
Just passed or last year.
It was something. It just passed. You should have ultra celebrated that.
Yeah.
We gotta have sex.
Fuck.
We should take back our virginities again.
Well, like I feel like you don't use it in a long time, it just grows back, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a made up thing anyway. You can make up your own rules. Like make up your own rules. Like landlords, make up your own rules.
Oh, fucking landlords! Like it's just, I argue with my father-in-law all the time about this, and he always gets stumped on the question, "What are they providing?"
Yeah, what?
If you say housing, you're wrong.
Because they can just take it away.
There. Yeah, they can just take it. Like it's. If you like video games, I highly recommend. Was it Not Your Broadcast? It has real actors in it, which is awesome. And part of it is you are editing a news broadcast, and you get to choose what propaganda goes in. And one of the parties that gets elected is taking away the second and third houses from rich people. And then the
good.
rich people come out, they're like, this is discrimination. And they're like, they don't know how to protest. So it's obviously
Yeah, because
really funny.
What about their fourth houses? Do they get to still keep those?
Oh, they get to keep their first houses.
Yeah, but you said only the second and third. So what
Well,
about the fourth house?
I guess they lose all their houses above second. Like they're like one house per group is enough.
Which is like it should be that in real life, you know?
Right. It's just so funny because then they're like, all the rich people are like, you're stealing. Like, how am I going to afford to live? And they take all the rich people's passports and they're like, dictatorship. And it's like, well, you're trying to take all your money away to another island. So it's just funny. It's a good game. Good game. Highly recommend.
Highly recommend.
Do we have anything else for Landlords?
I haven't had too many bad ones, but I have had to advocate. So for seniors having bad landlords, they would not like bed bugs and cockroaches like on the ceiling. These people can't even barely walk and they like covered in bug bites. I had to go to like advocate for these people to get the proper care. And that was so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like,
it shouldn't even be a question.
Yeah. Like, why are you not providing? They're paying you rent. You should be taking care of these units for them. Like and even here, I have clients and there's a place that's a landlord place and the landlord does not fix things. And these seniors are afraid they're going to be kicked out of the buildings. There have been people trying to like advocate for the property managers to get out of these areas, but they were banned to ever come back to those areas, which I don't understand how that's possible. I don't know much about the laws here. I don't have the time to research to help advocate these people at this time. So I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to leave it because I'm just going to lose sleep over it. But yeah, local seniors are living in fear of being evicted because they aren't getting their needs met. So like it's
not even your job to step in to advocate.
That's not my job.
The government's job. Yeah. It's the government's job to do that, but they aren't doing that. They're not. And they never done that with landlords. Why? Because most of the politicians are also landlords. And like when the leftist party of Canada has landlords amongst them and MPs, they are not a leftist party. So stop saying the NDP is leftist, you fuckers out there. So fucking sick of it.
They're maybe center
left at best.
Yes.
At best.
I don't think after over the years, I don't think Canada has a truly left
we
party
do not
anymore.
No, we do not.
Like it's gone.
The Overton window is so far right that like some ideologies like people should be able to eat is considered radical left.
Yes, it's extremist, right? Because every time I have an opinion about human rights, I'm considered an extremist. Is fantastic. But yeah, no, what's crazy is we're not quite American conservative yet. Like our most conservative party still isn't American level yet, and which has me fearing for Americans. Because even their most left party is not as like our right isn't even close to that yet. Like it's scary.
It's very like our conservative party, the progressive conservative party.
Oh no. They went back to just being conservative.
Yeah, they're just conservatives now.
They don't want to be
and progressive. There is not one pro-choice MP among them. They are all pro-lifers, officially.
All Catholics too. They all believe in that one religion.
Yeah, well, so like all the conservatives are all pro-life. So that already shows like they used to be progressive. They were the one. I believe it was Harper that brought in gay marriage. You know, the conservatives, the progressive conservatives made it legal to be gay and get married in Canada before any of the states. So there you go. And now they're all pro-lifers and anti-gay. So it's getting bad worse. I think because I think media takes a big part in that. And with American media, people get brainwashed so easy.
So
Propaganda's
easy.
always out there.
Yeah. And so since it's in the news a lot, what's happening in the States, like it trickles down. They're like, well, if they're doing it, why aren't we doing it? You know, we don't have to do it. It's okay. Let them burn on their own. We don't have to either.
Yeah.
Fuck.
We're just America's hat.
Yeah, but now we're getting like, you know, like when you watch cartoons and everything changes color, and like when a scene changes, our hat is getting tainted. It's like starting to get like matching the rest.
If you're American, email us. Tell us how a bunch of your country is on fire. We'll read it live on air.
Yeah, ours is literally on fire, but tell us why yours is.
Theirs is also on fire. Hawaii's gone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
no.
it's what 37 confirmed dead now.
Oh
but that
my
was
gosh,
this morning. I have no idea now.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's really bad in Hawaii right now.
Hopefully nobody's blaming them for the smoke, because you know if that's gonna happen in the next few days.
I know.
Like
Like,
part of the
fuck.
state, Maine.
Texas is going to be so
like,
mad. They're going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, why is your smoke ruining my vacation?
Oh my
I watch
God.
good first day of school photos of my kids. Why are you ruining them?
That literally happened though, because people are fucking. It's the same people that bitch about or Amber Alerts and
Yeah.
shit. You know,
yeah.
same
But
fucking
for-
people.
Yeah, fucking landlords.
Fucking landlords. Anyway,
Fucking
I'd love to thank our VIP Patreon Stephanie Hurst for hanging in there and staying a VIP Patreon. If you want your name shout out here, just join us at the VIP Patreon tier, highest level, but you can get all of our bonus content even available at the lowest tier. So that's pretty cool. And you can find out all our newest things there, usually weeks early. So follow our Patreon if you like us enough.
If you like us enough, it's just $5, you get stuff.
And if that's too much for you, you just want a one-time payment, you don't want to worry about it, buy us a drink on our link tree. Let us know. If you said you can add a little message when you buy us a drink there, and we'll read that too. We'll shout you out in an episode if you give us a one-time payment. So yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you so much for listening. Fuck you if you're a landlord and you're listening.
Fuck you.
Eat the rich.
Yep.
Stop hoarding land. What are you, a fucking dragon? Go
And Domri
away.
needs to go be a hero and start sucking dick for property so the unhoused can have houses.
Yeah.
That's their goal. Come back with us.
Superhero throat goat on her way.
5-year plan, guys.
I want that with a cape, like a whole outfit.
Okay, okay.
Yep. Superhero throat goat. Okay, anyways, before we start brainstorming more, have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.